So the confusion between the Aircross and the Basalt, I had it. How are they going to be different? And right now also, if you think about it, the difference between the Basalt and the C3 Aircross is not more than ₹1,00,000 at the top spec.
Correct.
Right? So they're closely priced. So you're going to think, why would I go for the Basalt over the C3 Aircross or the other way around? It's confusing. But there is a difference in the personality of the two cars.
Okay.
But while driving it, I was just thinking it's so familiar. It's okay. Nothing about it is wow. It's the engine is smooth enough, but not really the smoothest. It's definitely not the most exciting. That automatic is still the thing that I'm not too keen on, because it's not that at low speeds it has that, that shunt, what we call as that jhatka, when you go off the gas and back on again. We've seen this, and it's not just specific to Citroen. A lot of the automatics, the torque converters, we've spoken about this with the Skoda VW group with the 1-liter engine. We've seen it now recently with the 3XO and its 6-speed automatic, and it's the same thing here. So I don't know why it's happening, and this is why we even spoke on disconnect. You'll often think of these as the solution, but it's not necessarily it's the solution. It's a kind of solution. So it's okay. It's not the smoothest when you're going on and off the gas. That's basically it. So in terms, it's similar to the C3 Aircross. I mean, it feels pretty much like that. Around the corners, when you're driving it, it's that same positive feeling. That great feeling of being in control, and you're just surprised by how well behaved it is. Although while driving it, I was like, it feels a little less involving, a little less direct than what I remember the C3 Aircross to be.
Okay.
So there were all these thoughts going on in my head, and so it was still a good car to drive. There's no two ways.
But did you get a resolution as to why it felt different? Okay, we're coming to it.
So drove all the way south. Lovely drive, slightly rainy, so wet roads as well. The Ghat sections, the wider sections, with that highway going through Goa now, so drove through that. So it was nice. It was a good drive, and it has that same utter sense of composure at speed. It's just traveling, and you are just chilling in that. There are lots of details that are coming to my head now about the seating position and all of that, which is all very similar to what the C3 Aircross is. So no powered seats and all those kind of details. But the point is, sense of driving was very similar to the Aircross.
Okay.
So I drove all the way there, drove all the way back to where we started the drive from. And my basic sense was, yeah, okay, it's good. It's familiar. It doesn't feel special. Okay. Now I had to go to the airport. I had an early flight, and I had to fly out of the new Goa airport, which is all the way up north.
Correct.
So what I had requested Citroen was that, give me a driver. He can drive me there. I can experience the backseat. And they figured it out. And after that, from there till the time I got to the airport, everything just sorted itself out. Because the backseat is what gives this car its personality. There's no two ways about it. And it's not just the backseat. So you asked about how it feels to steer and drive and all of that. That sense that it's tuned differently from the C3 Aircross, all that was validated. Because as it turned out, I was driven in the Basalt till the airport, very nearly to the airport. And from there, for some reason, for the last stretch, it had nothing to do with reliability. It's because the car was not registered. The Basalt couldn't be driven into the airport.
Got it.
It was on temporary plates. So I had an Aircross drive me into the airport from outside the airport. So it was a distance of maybe 7 kilometers, something like that. So I literally got to experience one car, the other
back
car.
to back, yeah.
It was back to back.
Awesome.
So it became crystal clear. The backseat. So we didn't discuss the backseat at all. And there are a couple of things here which make Citroen. And you can see them so obviously, right? Is that, I don't know if you caught up at any point, because that was something that was going around a lot. They have this seat base adjustment thingy.
Oh yeah, which all the reels said, "Ye toota hua hai kya?" And then somebody said, "Toota hua nahi hai, it is to give you extra support," or some such
Correct.
nonsense. Yeah, okay.
I mean, when we are discussing cars and when we are making notes and trying to explain when a backseat is good or not good, there are so many details we'll talk about. Seat base length, angle of the seat base, foot room under the front seats, the cushioning, all that jazz, right? This one feature takes care of practically everything. Because what it does is it has this lip. This section lasts, let's say, 6 inches or so. You can angle it upwards. So what it does is automatically it pushes your legs up like this. So if you're tall, your legs can be like this. You don't have to push forward all the way to just stretch out because you're automatically supported.
Right.
So that was one small feature, and it looks like a gimmick, but it's not. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. To me, the whole car conversation about under thigh support is beyond me. It's like, how can this be a big thing? But it comes up so often that it has to be a big thing. And if they can solve it with a little thing like that.
I told the guys at Citroen that I think this is going to be the most copied feature. Because to me, it just makes so much sense. Every car should have this. Every car should have it. Because it just stops this entire, whether you're a 6-footer, whether you're a 5-footer, whether you're doing short journeys, long journeys, done. You just do cut. And it has 4 levels, 0 and 3 levels of inclination that you can adjust.
Correct.
Superb. Nice. And I spent an hour and a half in the back seat, so it's not a short duration.
Doing cut in the back? Huh?
I just, I do cut everywhere, okay? So I spent time figuring out what angle I like, which was the middle setting, and I was good. And at that point, I don't have to push my feet forward.
Correct.
I'm sitting comfortably like this. Okay, first, liked it. It's not a gimmick. Second, it has those headrests, those aircraft style headrests.
As in you can fold the edge.
So now again, Citroen. So they don't want movable parts. Every movable part is an added expense, added complexity, all of that.
Correct.
So it has slight buttresses. So it kind of cradles your head.
Got it.
Nice cushioning. So it holds your head properly. You could relax over there. So both those things work.
So it's a good rear seat.
Now, here's the difference between the Aircross and the Basalt. Everything on the Basalt is slightly focused towards comfort. So the cushioning, slightly plusher. Okay? The angle for the seat back, slightly more relaxed. So it's non-adjustable. So it is what it is. The suspension tube, slightly softer.
Okay.
Everything is slightly different. So it's not the same backseat experience by a long shot. And one of the big things is the C3 Aircross. For the second row aircon, it was roof mounted, which always used to, it feels tacky. This has the floor mounted console, so it was good. So the overall experience of the car, as it having a personality, it just settled into you. Like, I spent my time in the back going like, man, I like this.
Okay.
I enjoyed spending time there. And the last bit, which they just mentioned as a line when they were presenting the car, it has better sound insulation. Okay. Everybody says that. It has better sound.
Nice.
So all the way there to the airport, and I told you it was raining, right? And you're on concrete roads. So you know that sound that you get from the tires, which is like that tearing sound, which you can't miss. And I'm like, I can't hear it very well. Maybe the roads are not that wet. Okay, you go a little further. And I'm like, still I can't hear it. Maybe the concrete is good over here. You know, it was like that. So I kept trying to get to a point where I see that, the sound is too much. That sound is a very distinctive sound. And in most sedans, in the back seat, that's the thing that will bother you more than anything else. It's the noise from the tires and the road. So I was in that state thinking, no, the roads weren't wet enough, the concrete wasn't bad enough and all of that. I got into the C3 Aircross and drove that last 7 kilometers. The driver was playing music and all of that. Switch it off, drive at this speed. We're on the right conditions because it was concrete, it was still wet. Immediately you could hear the noise.
So they have improved the noise insulation and it does seem to work.
And even if I were to factor in that the Aircross had slightly worn tires or older tires, that level of difference, to me, it felt significant.
That is a clip from MotorInc. And what that means is, if you'd like to see more of these, you can do two things. One is stay on this channel, subscribe and watch more, or you can come to the main MotorInc channel where you'll find a much longer video that discusses this idea in a lot more detail.